Chris the Nightmare Ariola, and you're watching Mission Boxing Today on YouTube.
Heavyweight boxing fans, what's the deal? Alright, so one of my subscribers just sent me this link, and I haven't read it yet, so I'm just opening it up and I'm just read it and I'm giving my opinion about it. But the title is exclusive interview. Shouts out to worldboxingnews.net. It says exclusive, Joseph Parker considering Wembley appearance for Joshua vs. Klitschko call out. Okay, and this article came out today. I'll leave the article in the description box, and like always on my channel, you can click it, read it, and come to your own surmise. All right. So let me read a little bit of this, and then I'm gonna go ahead and give my opinion. Ducal events director David Higgins says undefeated Parker, 24 years old, may wish to make his presence felt at London's Wembley Stadium in the spring in order to seal a prospective unification later in 2017. He goes on to say, I will certainly look at being there, but for Joe, he could be there to call out the winner for a mega fight at Wembley in late summer to unify the belts, Higgins exclusively told World Boxing News. That's what we want, to unify the belts, and we are willing to lose trying. If the other belt holders shared our views, it would fix the heavyweight division. Any heavyweight worth their salt should be looking to unify the division and hold all the belts. When the belts aren't unified, the public are confused about who is the champion. In the past, the Klitschkos couldn't unify because they were brothers, and that's why the public lost interest and it hurts the sport. That's why the Klitschkos will never have that legacy like an undisputed champion will have. Take Lennox Lewis, for example, or Muhammad Ali. The Klitschkos never really got to that top level, in my opinion, because they didn't become undisputed. All right, he also goes on to say, it sort of hurt the sport a bit for 15 or so years, but it's different now because the belt holders are hungry and willing to take the risk. Losing isn't the end of the world either. The majority of greats lost at some point in their careers, and many of them came back. Lennox Lewis beat two guys who knocked him out and had the courage to put it all on the line. It's exciting, and I think Joseph Parker has timed it just right coming into a host of cracker matchups, rematches, maybe even trilogies where it goes one way, then the other before back again. Let me see what else he says. He says, there are a lot of guys around, and the UK is shaping up to be the epicenter of that, he added. All right. I agree with most of the things he said in this article. As far as the Klitschkos go, I believe that, well, I know he's in New Zealand, but here in America, a lot of people were not really into the heavyweight division because we didn't have an American heavyweight to represent us the way that a lot of fans want to be represented. We want Holyfield, Tyson, Ali, Foreman, Frazier, Floyd Patterson, Joe Louis. That's what we're used to, Larry Holmes. So when we start getting the Seth Mitchells and the Calvin Brocks, and no disrespect to those guys, but they didn't live up to those past greats. So a lot of American fans, I mean, you know, you did have Layman Brewster and Shannon Briggs, but they wasn't the icons that those other guys were when they were fighting. So a lot of the American fans lost interest, you know what I mean? But when I used to watch Klitschko and watch his fights on the internet, and they're out and fighting fighting the fights they had out in their countries, they were packed. You know what I mean? So it's just here in America, we lost interest as fans. I didn't per se, but a lot of fans did. You know, when I used to try to make videos about some of these fights, some guys would say, who the hell is that guy? I can't even pronounce his name. I don't care about Klitschko. I don't like their style, this, that, and the third. So I've also brought up my opinion about there not being the undisputed champion during the Klitschko era when Vitaly was around. And it's because they were brothers and they didn't want to fight each other. So it was kind of like a 1A, 1B, two-headed monster of the heavyweight division. I wasn't cool with that. You know what I mean? I want to see one. I don't want to see two or, you know, two guys that are claimed to be the best. I want to know who the best is. So, yes, I think that hinders them somewhat when you're comparing them to some of the other greats that have that undisputed status under their belt. But that doesn't take away from Vladimir's, you know, long title reigns and all that type of shit. It doesn't take away from that. And I pretty much, in my opinion, I thought Vitaly was the better of the two brothers. That's just my opinion. Just stylistically, I thought he had a better chin. I liked his style a little bit better. Just thought he was a better fighter. I've made countless videos about that. But I think it'd be a good idea if Joseph Parker shows up to Wembley and calls out the winner. Because then, Joseph Parker, his personality, he's a mellow type of guy, calm guy. But I think, he can go up there in a respectful manner and just call out the winner. I think that'd be good for him. I know he needs to worry about who he's going to fight first. The three names that were being thrown out were Hughie Fury, Jarrell Miller, and David Price. So hopefully he takes care of what he needs to do. And then, yeah, call out the winner. And, this Higgins and Duco and Lonergan, they have been consistent with what they've been saying as far as they want to unify and they're willing to lose trying to unify. They're not really concerned about just holding on to a title, ignoring unifications, and just fighting guys who are going to scratch our head and say, man, why is he fighting that guy? They want to fight the mandatory, and then after that, they're trying to unify. I know a lot of fans, they don't believe none of this. So they need to show and prove to make some of those fans believers. I'm going to hold you at your word until you start showing me otherwise. Now, if they try to make negotiations with the winner out of Klitschko and Joshua, and it doesn't come about, then if they tried, I can't fault them. But with Klitschko and Joshua winner, there's so many things going on with that IBF and WBA strap. The IBF right now, they're trying to order the winner of that fight to defend that IBF title against Kurbat Pulev. The WBA, I seen Sauerland and those guys that work with no, I'm sorry. Sauerland and Pulev and those guys are trying to get the IBF to have the winner of that fight them without any in between fights. Then on the WBA side of things, they just ordered the winner of that fight to fight Luis Ortiz. So there's a lot going on. You would think the unification would take precedence over everything, but I guess we'll have to wait and see, man. I mean, we could sit here and speculate what's going to happen, but we need to just pretty much just wait and see because there's so much news that comes out, so we need to wait and see. You will hope if Parker wins his fight and he wants to fight the winner of that fight in a unification to bring all three belts together. Some people, will probably say, well, shit, man, I want to see Ortiz get his shot, or I want to see Pulev get his shot. I'm a big believer in unification and striving towards unification. Although, it's kind of shit, I do want to see Ortiz get his shot, though, man, because he's a name that needs to be thrown in there with the top fighters. But we need to just see how this shit plays out. But I think it'd be a good idea for Parker to go to the fight and, call out the winner, just make his presence felt. I don't think it'll hurt him. You know what I mean? So I love to see that, man. As far as the rest of this article, I mean, he's pretty much saying what he needs to say. Yes, Lennox Lewis did get revenge against Oliver McCall and vicious revenge against Hasim Rahman. And even the fight when he had with Holyfield, he got a draw. So he didn't win the fight. He got a draw, and he came back and he beat him. Although a lot of fans, including myself, thought that Lennox won both fights or won the first fight. So I'm just getting this article out there, man, with David Higgins, the director of Duco Events. He says he's going to be at the fight, and he says that possibly Parker will show up and call out the winner. You guys let me know about this or what you think about this. Do you think it's all a ploy? Do you think it's smoke and mirrors? Do you think it's bullshit? Do you think Parker really doesn't want to do that? Let me know what you think. To me, they're being consistent with what they've been saying since he's won this title. So I'm going to hold them to their word. First, they need to take care of business and do what they need to do, and then start to think about going to the fight and calling out the winner. Like I just stated, though, the WBA and IBF have different plans with the winner of this fight. So I guess we'll have to sit back and see what's going to happen. You would think that if they're trying to get all the belts together, they would let these guys go ahead and unify so we can have an undisputed champion. Then we need to see what Deontay Wilder wants to do as far as, I mean, shit. If Parker can't get this fight with the winner of this because of the IBF and WBA and what they're going to do, I've heard Parker already say he's willing to fight Wilder. So hopefully Wilder, when he's done with this fight, we still need to sit back and see what the WBC is going to do as far as this mandatory position or the interim championship with Stavern. And now there's news that Povetkin actually he passed this test. So there's just so much shit that still needs to unfold first for us to move on. But shit, I'm definitely down for a unification fight, Wilder versus Parker, if that was to happen. But you guys let me know what you think in the comment section. I'm out.